Hello everyone and welcome to the 2018 Formula Challenge round from the Baku Street Circuit in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan's capital, of course, one of the twistiest places a race has ever been held. And of course, the terrifying turn 8 on this circuit, a prime indication of that. It is just 5.1 meters wide. That is the narrowest section of track you will ever reach on a GPVWC Formula Challenge calendar, and this is the first time that we've been to this track. So of course it'll be the first time that these drivers have tackled it in cars anything like this, I expect, and as a result this entire circuit is going to be a big challenge. It starts with a very sort of boxy layout first sector, with a couple of 90-degree corners left and right, before heading into the castle section up the hill. That's the bit with the really tight corner that I was just talking about. And then we head off into a very fast corner with more sort of sweeping angles. And then finally an extremely long flat out section, of course, at the very end, and a very long final straight. So plenty of slipstreaming opportunities, and the interesting thing about this circuit is that despite the fact it is a street course, the drivers will be trying to run minimal wings today because of the extremely long straight. I was speaking to the CM Tech guys before this race as their official reserve driver, and they're saying that this is all about low downforce, and that makes the actual circuit part of the circuit really rather interesting. So we'll see how that goes. We're currently in the qualifying session for this race, and quickest in the first sector on this opening lap has been Adrian Campfield. So Campfield is a driver to look out for this time around. He's actually the first driver out, I think, so he set the first second sector, but it is a relatively quick one. So Campfield is going to be the first driver to put in a lap here in the Stax racing car. He crosses the line very shortly, and his lap is going to be, it's going to be a quick one, I expect. A good opening time. It is a 1:51.368. Going into this round, the championship is an interesting muddle of positions. If you look at it, we've got 20th place finishes as high up as third. And there have been real ups and downs for all of the drivers all the way throughout the field so far in the series. But topping the championship at the minute is Chris Butcher. So Chris Butcher is at the top in his Red Arrow car, and he's being followed by Osvaldo Angeloni. Butcher, of course, won race 1 at Shanghai last time out. Angeloni didn't have the best of days, ending up upside down in the first race but recovering to 9th. Third place, Adrian Campfield, who we just saw putting in a quick opening qualifying lap, is in third place in the championship. And then it's Chris Shepherd and Philip Koenig with a couple of podiums. However, we did see a real charge last time out from Ivan Leonov, who took his first win of the series and put himself up to 6th in the championship. I expect we have a lot more to come from Ivan. Of course, he would probably have done better at the Albert Park circuit if he hadn't had that incident with Sandeep Choda in race 1. That was just a really bad race weekend for both of those two guys, and that has kept him in 16th position in the 6th rather in the championship, but still plenty of time to be gained. Top of this session now is Wesley Stefano. So Wesley Stefano has taken Adrian Campfield for the top of the order. So Stefano at the top right now with a 1:51.282. Still a lot of time to be gained from all of these guys though, and Wesley himself might be on a quicker one here. I'm also on the lookout for Matthias Dabrowski's laps, and actually Adrian Campfield goes through and puts his car again at the top. So we've got just under 10 minutes left in the session. We've got almost 9 minutes left, and Adrian Campfield puts his car at the top with a 1:51.116. That's a good lap from him so far, and it's Campfield at the top, followed by Stefanik, Brambilla, Angeloni, Dabrowski, Butcher, Graham. Oh, Graham's crashed. That's at turn 1. Zarebic, Galka, and Yunt. So those are the drivers in this session at the moment. I don't know if Graham actually knows he's lost his front wing, because he appears to be continuing, and that's only costing him time because he has lost his front wing. So lapping like this, I don't know what he's intending. Oh, I know what he's trying to do. He has to get it back to the pits. You have to get it back to the pits, or else you're not allowed to set another qualifying lap. I forgot that. So yeah, Harry Graham has really delayed himself now, but a good lap from him actually. Remember that he is, I believe, one of the youngest drivers on the grid, one of the downforce radio kart drivers, and he is currently in 7th position as our championship leader Chris Butcher moves up into 6th. Still plenty of time to be gained from Chris Butcher though. Of course, he's our championship leader, so he will not be expecting to start from the 3rd row of the grid, and he's still got a lot of time to be gained. Now, hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. I see BBM, Stracho, ACR Nobody. A lot of people predicting crashes, and I expect that might well be the case at some point, because this is a very, very narrow street circuit. So, yeah, I think we are going to see a couple of accidents today. Hopefully not too many, but I expect we'll see a couple. We are live, of course, on both the GPVWC YouTube channel and the Sim News TV YouTube channel. Both of those live streaming this Formula Challenge race from Baku. Jack Mayer, fingers crossed for no lag issues tonight, he says. Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we've been seeing quite a lot of lag issues so far this championship, so I very much hope that that doesn't occur again. But yeah, it would really, really be a very bad thing to see if it does happen. Luke McGuire is on a quick one. He is actually the quickest of anyone in the 1st sector. So let's watch him as he is in the 3rd sector now, just coming down the start-finish straight. So this is going to be a quick lap. He's going to cross the line very shortly, and I expect this might even go to the top of the order here. Luke McGuire crosses the line. It is provisional pole by a 1/10 of a second. So Luke McGuire, 151.016. Is anyone going to be able to get into the 150s? Maguire certainly gave it his best shot there. Interesting, I've just seen a new name in this server, and that's Matt Richards. And if you remember Matt Richards, he did very well, actually came 2nd in the GPVWC ITC last year. Got rated Downforce Racing's Sim Racing Driver of the Year last year. So good to see him in Formula Challenge. I didn't know he was actually coming today, but we'll see if he races. That'd be great to see. Looking back at the timing sheet, we just had a very quick 3rd sector from Ivan Leonov, a very quick middle sector from Chris Shepherd. Shepherd's lap put him to 3rd. Leonov's lap was only good enough for 8th position. So despite a best 3rd sector of anyone, he's actually still only 8th. Now that shows me that he's probably running very, very quickly in a straight line, because the final sector is mainly straight, but maybe not around an actual lap. Chris Butcher now goes up to 5th. Our championship leader still not where he'd want to be. He wants to be at least on the front 2 rows, especially not in 5th position. So still time to be gained. There. I see a couple of people moving up the order further back, and it's still Maguire from Campfield, Shepherd, Stefano, and Butcher. Those are our top 5 at the minute, although Brambilla's just put in a 1st sector, so let's keep an eye on Daniele Brambilla's pace as he is rounding the latter stages of this lap. His 2nd sector wasn't exactly blistering, but this could still be a good lap from Daniele Brambilla here. We'll see what he does in the 3rd sector. It's mainly straight. There are a couple of flat-out sweepers, not much time to be gained through there. A lot of time to be lost through there if you clout the wall, but not really much time to be gained through there. He opens the DRS, and no, he doesn't, because he pits. So into the pits goes Daniele Brambilla. He abandons that lap and is going to try to set up for one more attempt. Sandeep Choda moves up into 7th, so both the CM Tech guys now in the top 10. Brambilla 6th, Sandeep Choda 7th. So they're close in terms of pace, as we've seen for this season long so far. Been getting quite a lot of bad luck, that team has so far, and Sandy Choda, although qualifying, I think it was 2nd in Australia, is 18th in the championship, and Brambilla is 19th. So disappointing results for CM Tech. So got a lot more to give. They're 13th out of 16 teams in the championship so far. Now, who's on a quicker lap? I see that Kevin Peters just went straight on down an escape road in the background. He's just rejoining after that. Ranu Muri looking down the order is on a quicker lap at this precise minute. He's trying to move himself up into the points paying positions in this qualifying session, currently in 23rd place. Although I think he still has time to give, we'll have to see. Luke Maguire, I believe, is exiting the pits now for his final attempt, so he's going around for one last time. Murray's being a bit held up here by Matthew Quinn. And I hear crunch sound effects, so someone's been into the wall. Now into the final sector goes Murray. He'll be getting a very good slipstream from Matthew Clipp's car ahead of him as we head onto the start-finish straight. Oh dear! Now that really affected him through the corners. He actually touched the barrier there. Oh, as I see one of the downforce cars getting up against the wall on the other side of the track there. But Ranu Murray getting a slipstream now. I think this is going to be a quicker lap from him. Let's see. Yeah, moves him up into 22nd place. So gains a bit of time, moves out to Dominic Foster. Mateusz Dabrowski, quick in the 2nd sector. His 1st sector wasn't quite there, and he's put in the 3rd sector. It's only 7th there from Mateusz Dabrowski, so I don't think he actually gained any time at all there. What about, well, I believe that Luke Maguire's just setting up for his final attempt. Thomas Andrea Maharaso has just put in a lap. That's kept him where he is, so no improvement from Thomas. Apparently Dabrowski's lap was an improvement, but it wasn't enough to put him ahead of... oh, it was. He did get up into 7th, so he got ahead of Sandeep Choda on that lap, so he moved up 1 place. Tom Davison's on a quick one, I tell you. That one, I think, might actually get him up into the points here. He's in 19th at the minute. Just entering the final sector of the course. I was looking at the wrong name, wasn't I? Who was I looking at? No, I think oh, it was Philip Koenig. I was looking at the wrong name. And Koenig did put in a lap, and that did put him up into the points in 15th position, so just at the bottom end of the order there. Davison was not actually on a lap there. I think he's setting up for one final flyer as well. As is Luke Maguire. He's on one now, and Adrian Campfield just behind him on the track. So, so it's going to be a race for the pole here between the top 2, and possibly others as well. What about, yeah, Shepherd, Stefano, and Butcher? I believe are all on laps as well. Butcher is about to finish one, but I don't think it's a quicker one. Actually, I think he's going on to one. Yeah, so Butcher starts another. Whoa, he locks up. That's, oh dear, no, big mistake. He's lost it. Butcher is going to have to start from 5th position on the grid, if not lower. That's a big, bad mistake from our championship leader, Chris Butcher. He's thrown away his last qualifying lap, his last chance at a qualifying lap, and he will not be starting from the front 2 rows of the grid. He will have to start from at least 5th here. Oh, and Maguire's had a big kick of oversteer and got into the wall. So I reckon that's it for Maguire as well. He's not going to be able to improve on his lap. He was actually quickest of anyone in the 1st sector, but I think he's really stuffed it with the 2nd. We'll probably finish this lap anyway, just because it can't hurt. But I reckon that's that over. So Maguire just going through the final corner now. What can he do with this lap? I don't think it'll be up, but let's see. His current lap is a 151.016. Oh, he's pitting, so he doesn't even bother finishing the lap. He pits. What about Campfield? Campfield coming through now. Look at the yellow light flashing. But, oh, he goes quicker, but not ahead of Maguire. He does a 151.037. That's just 0.021 behind Luke Maguire. Chris Butcher's just coasting back to the pits, isn't he? Who is actually on a quicker lap here? I believe that Sandeep Choda is. So Sandeep Choda, in an attempt to get him higher up, he needs to get into the slipstream of that car ahead now. Mikhail Galka, that is. Why is he not using the slipstream of Mikhail Galka? Whatever the case, he didn't get any quicker on that lap. Maybe he would have done. So that was interesting. But anyway, Matthias Dabrowski just coming in to put in his last attempt as well. I reckon this session's over though. Oh, and a last-ditch attempt from Mark Veit has put him into 6th position. That's a good race. A good lap from Mark Veit, rather. 6th position in the session. And I believe that that is everyone completely sorted now. I don't think that there are any other quick laps coming in. And I reckon that is the final order. So it's Maguire on pole, followed by Campfield, Shepherd, Stefano, Butcher, Veit, Dabrowski, or Dabrowski rather, Brambilla, Choda, Zarebiec, Angeloni, Roger, Leonov, Early, Yunt, Graham, Galka, Koenig, Zubinski, Andrea Maharasa, Davison, Willis, De Los Rios, Hammer, Foster, Muru, Metcalf, Clip, Peters, Potters, and Richards. So that is the order. Now I'm going to just quickly look up the penalties as well, because I know there have been a couple. So that order that I just read out won't be the finished order. I don't think any of the guys near the front of the order have got any penalties, but I'll have a look. I'll have a look nonetheless. So that was the first qualifying session, or the only qualifying session here at Baku, and that is how the grid is going to line up. So back of the grid penalties, not actually that many. We have one for, well, actually we have two, but neither of those drivers are neither of those drivers are actually in this event. Those would have been Stefan McCready and Ed Williams, so neither of them are here. I don't think there were any other. Well, Balint Hammer got a 20 slot grid penalty. As did Mark Veit. So Veit is not going to be starting from 6th position. Matthew Clip got a 5 slot. Patrick Vandermiller got a 5 slot, and I think that is it. So Mark Veit looks to be the least fortunate there. He'll be starting from about 26th on this grid. There are 31 drivers here today, and we are now heading into a brief warm-up session before the start of what could well be a very hectic race. Of course, qualifying, really not everything here. It is difficult to overtake, but if you can keep yourself out of trouble, I can imagine that a lot of these guys are going to be involved in accidents, and as a result, it's not ideal to be starting further down, but it's not the end of the world. Plus, we have 2 races today, and if you finish in the top 15 in race 1, you have a chance of being included in the reverse grid, and if you're in the top 10, you are definitely going to be in the reverse grid. The reverse grid being where we pick a number out of a hat. That number could be anywhere from 10 to 15, and then that number of cars gets reversed, and that is the grid for race 2. So race 2 always the tricky one, always the one where the quicker drivers start sort of in the mid pack, and as a result, you do often get massive sort of sort outs. But anyway, race 1 coming up. It's the straight fight to the flag with a pit stop. In Shanghai, a lot of the guys were going for 2 pit stops, but this track less sort of tyre wearing than Shanghai is. So I'm not expecting there to be 2 pit stops from any of these guys here today. It'll probably be one stop. Mostly starting on the softs and going on to the harder compound, but we could definitely see a surprise. You have to race on the tyre you qualify on. Anyway, we'll see. So, Luke Maguire tops the order here. He's Luke Maguire of Formula Challenge recognition. Currently, not actually near the top of the order of the championship. In fact, he's only 23rd in the championship after missing last time out. He finished 11th in race 1 at Australia, then retired from race 2. I have a feeling that was a lag issue. And then missed Shanghai altogether, but he's back, and he's back with a vengeance. With a pole position at Baku. Just looking through the chat again, more people joining in on the GPVWC live stream. We have Naranan Kuma. Hello, Naranan. Good to race you in the WCS League the other day. Always nice going wheel to wheel with you there. Epic Racing here, watching their drivers. Fina 488, Gardner, Mr. Coffolino. Hello, Mr. Coffolino. Garisu, and on the Sim News TV channel, Argo Tida, who is our cameraman. So I'm your commentator, Joshua Jones, but our cameraman, so showing you the different angles and the different drivers here today is our cameraman, Argo Tida. Does a great job of it. Avic Chronic Racing, of course, they are competing in Super League on Thursday. Make sure you tune in for that. The Gamosaurus, Lewis McGlade, he's been helping Fabian train for that. Fabian Ruder, who's racing tomorrow in Super Cup. Simracing Malta. That's one of the other leagues I commentate on. What are they doing here? Hi, to SRM. So, okay, good to see you here. PNK says, I'm afraid you're not live on the GPVWC channel. Well, we are, because I've got the stream up. So maybe the stream went down briefly. I don't know anything about that. Strachio says, how many drivers? We've got 31 here. So we do have a very large grid here. Lewis McGlade says, part of me is looking forward to racing here tomorrow. Then the rest is like, yeah, no. To be honest, there is a big chance that there's going to be some incident, but the Super Cup drivers are usually quite well behaved, so we'll see. Risto Capit here, competing on Thursday with the Super League Championship. Hello, Risto. And Lazarus Philippikos. I'm sure you've done some Formula Challenge in the past as well. Hello to you. I'm hearing again that there might not actually be a stream on the GPVWC channel, but there is because I'm watching it, so that's a bit weird. I don't know what everyone isn't seeing, but okay. We are streaming on both the Sim News TV channel and the GPVWC channel. Now, the warm-up session has just come to a close in terms of the time, so we are getting ready for the start of the race. Luke Maguire says, let's try not to bottle this. Yeah. Good luck to Luke Maguire, who is starting from pole position here today. Very good lap, he set. Epic Racing says this is where FC show the rest of the career ladder up and achieve a clean opening lap. Now that would be it would be rather funny if FC got through the opening lap cleanly and everyone else crashed tomorrow and the day after, with Super Cup tomorrow and the Super League on Thursday. But hopefully we get a clean opening lap and a clean race in all of those. I mean, it's not going to happen, but hopefully we do. So the race director, Chris Williamson, saying this is a tight circuit, so please take extreme care tonight. That's to the drivers. I'm not sure how many of them are actually going to listen to that, but it's good that we are getting reminded of that, especially about the castle section with that really tight turn 8. Remember, 5.8 meters, 5.1 meters, 5.1 meters wide. I mean, that's like you and your dad lying down, kind of. I mean, I don't know how tall you and your dad are, but lying down kind of head to foot across the road. It really is extremely narrow. So the warm-up session just came to an end. We are waiting for the session to change and to go to the starting grid. Jack Mayer saying, if FC has no accidents on lap 1, I'll eat my soft compound tyres. Okay, well, better than the hard ones, you must say. Bit rubbery. I mean, they'd be a bit like squid. I quite like squid sometimes, but anyway. So the administrator just moving all of the drivers to their correct positions. We've had a couple of penalties, of course. Valent Hammer, Mark Veit, and Matthew Clip starting out of place. Nowhere near as many as we had at China, though, after the qualifying at Australia. And of course, next time out we will probably have nowhere near as many penalties as even today. We'll probably have none for actual qualifying. Because you can't really disobey the track limits at Baku. Maybe at turn 8 slightly, but it would be a bit risky. Anyway, we've now gone to the race session, so the drivers will be making their way out onto the grid. They will be doing that in the next 33 seconds. Adrian Campfield lines up in second there. Everything's fine up the front of the order. Still waiting for a couple of guys. They've got about 20 seconds to make it to the grid now. Yeah, Luke Maguire makes it to the pits. Still waiting for our championship leader, Chris Butcher. Yeah, he's out there. Matthijs Dabrowski is going to just skim it, is it? Yeah, just makes it onto the road in time. Otherwise, if you don't make it in that time limit, you start from the pit lane, which would have been a bit of a disaster. But anyway, away from the grid we go. It's Luke Maguire starting on pole position, followed by Adrian Campfield. We're on the formation lap now. Both of the Epic Racing team guys, or Stax Racing team guys rather, did rather well in qualifying, with Campfield second and Shepherd in third, and then it's Wesley Stefano in fourth, Chris Butcher in fifth. That's our championship leader, who has a hard task today, starting from the third row of the grid. Matthijs Dabrowski in sixth, followed by Daniele Brambilla and his CM Tech teammate Sandeep Choda. Konrad Zerebic is in ninth position, followed by Osvaldo Angeloni, second in the championship, 10th on the grid. That's a disappointing qualifying from Osvaldo, who will certainly be hoping to make his way through the grid at the start. He's certainly capable of it. Then it's Roger, Leonov, Early, Yunt, Graham, Galka, Koenig, Zibinski, Andrea Marisseur, Davison, Willis, Delos Rios, Foster, Murray, Veit, Metcalf, Peters, Richards, Hammer, and Clip. So obviously no Tristan Potters here, so Potters falls out late. But we do still have 30 of the 31 drivers who did qualifying on the grid for the start of this race. I suppose that saves me from having to read out the bottom end of the grid as Peters Potters again. It's like when you get Quint, Clump and Clip together on a grid. I remember doing that at Formula Challenge USA last year. Now as we head through the final sector, Luke Maguire is preparing to line up on the grid. There's not so much weaving going on as we've seen in the past. I reckon drivers just trying to avoid their tyres from going off here, because we've seen a bit of that happening in the past. Looks like all drivers are starting on the same compound of tyre here. I don't see any anomalies here. Now Luke Maguire lining up at the front of the grid, and he just parks it. Now, does he? How well does he line up here? It's dead straight. Stops a bit early, but you can see him trying to readjust himself slightly. It's the front wheel that goes the yellow line rather than the front wing. Shepherd poised to poke through the gap. Now let's watch the drivers at the back of the order going into their positions. Balint Hammer a bit out of place. He's in 29th, but he's in 30th at the minute. Now he regains his rightful position. Matthew Clip is going to be our last driver to line up as we prepare for the starting lights to come on and go out here. It's a long wait, but they're now in position. Here come the lights. When all 5 have gone out, we will start the race. Go! They're away! And it's a good start for Chris Shepherd behind and Campfield up the inside. But Maguire moves across to defend it, and he has the lead going into turn 1. He's gone very wide, he's hit the wall. Oh, and there's a crash between the two Stacks guys. The two Stacks guys spin across the track. That's a dreadful start. But still, they're still crashing this car upside down in the mid-pack. Who is that flipping over and over? They're still flipping. There's cars everywhere. They're still crashing down mine. There's front wings everywhere. And it was Matthias Dabrowski who went for a spin and a big flip. And it's Maguire now leading from Stefano, Butcher, Campfield and Shepherd somehow made it out in 4th and 5th. There's two Stacks guys somehow still there. Then it's Leonov, Choda, Roger, Zarebic and Yunt to make up the top 10. And Harry Graham is up into 11th at the start. He's made up 4 positions in all of that. That is such an unexpected start. And I'm afraid Daniele Brambilla is missing his front wing, as is Michal Galka. So good qualifying for both of them has paid them with absolutely nothing, as it doesn't tend to, I'm afraid, with the luck of IDIS and CM Tech. Just watching back again what happened at the start, it looks like Campfield actually went into the back of Maguire, forcing him to go wide and into the wall. And then, as they all bunched up, Shepherd went into the back of Campfield, tipping him round into the spin. Shepherd bounced off Stefano, and then it was just everyone getting bunched up behind. And Matthias Dabrowski went for a very, very long flip. He was upside down for an extremely long time. And it was just a case of everyone getting together. Dreadful start. And now, as the field comes around to complete their opening lap, some of the guys at the back are looking a bit less intact than they were at the start, I'm afraid to say. So who's got damage then? Well, Osvaldo Angeloni has got damage to his position. He, of course, started from 10th. He's now down into 21st. That's terrible for Osvaldo, who is, of course, second in the championship. This is going to be a really bad situation for his championship challenge. They're side by side up in front. Mark Veit has already made it up into 13th position. He just makes a move. And Andrea Marasoa there, and he's going for Foster, defending from Andrea Marasoa into turn 2. Does defend well. Who else has made a move further up? Well, Choda's under attack now from Zarebic. Zarebic at the inside, slight contact, but Choda has the inside for the next corner. Whoa, is that a spin? Campfield got very sideways. Campfield got very sideways, almost lost 5th position. Oh, he did lose 5th position to Ivan Leonov, who won his first race last time out. And out of the race, no, in the pits, not out. Zirbinski, Galka, and Brambilla. So, terrible opening lap there. And it's Maguire leading from Stefano and Butcher, but Butcher is right on the back of Stefano, followed by Shepard, Leonov, Campfield, Roger, Choda, Zarevic, and Yunt. Those are the top 10, although still in the points. Graham, Foster, Veit, Koenig, and Angeloni. Angeloni already up into 15th, but he's lost his front wing. It's gone from bad to worse for Osvaldo Angeloni. He was in 21st last time I looked. How has this happened? There's probably been another pile-up further down the order. Whatever's happened, he's gone up into 15th, but he's lost his front wing. Now, how's this happened? I'm trying to scroll through the footage. Oh my word, there was a huge pile-up. Now, who's that? It looks as if it was all kicked off by De Los Rios being run into the back of by Philip Koenig. So Koenig runs into the back of De Los Rios, tips him off the road, and then Andrea Maharasela and Hammer come together. Hammer misses his braking and goes into Andrea Maharasela. Ben Willis crashes into all of them as Philip Koenig gets all bunched up. Kevin Peters slides into the lot of them, as does Angeloni, who loses his front wing. So, again, another huge pile-up. Oh dear, this is going to be a really, really long afternoon for a lot of these guys. So, who else has got damage this time? It's hard to tell. Butcher is now ahead of Stefano, so the move for second has been made. Now, where was that made? That was made, I think, down the start-finish straight. I'm just watching it again. Yeah, this is just going to be a classic case of slipstream your way past for Chris Butcher. There he goes. He had it before the corner. That was a classic textbook overtake for Chris Butcher there. And I hear more crunch sound effects, I'm afraid to say. Who's in trouble this time? I'm just looking down the order. Oh, it's Angeloni again! It is Angeloni again. Has he missed the pit? I don't think he pitted. I think that he went straight. He did go straight past the pit that lap, despite he's missing his front wheel. He's gone. What's happened there is he's gone. I don't think he knew he was missing his front wing because he didn't pit. Then he just went into the wall on the outside. He's run over his front wheel. He's somehow mysteriously gained a new one from inside the barrier. Then the game's realised it's not supposed to have a front right wheel and it's vanished it again. So Angeloni is having to go round to the pits again without a front wheel, a front right. And that is terrible, terrible for Osvaldo. You have to know. He's gone into the wall again. Come on, you have to do it slower than that. He has to know when he's missing his front wing, because otherwise that happens. You lose all of the downforce, you go into the wall. And unfortunately for Angeloni, that looks very much like it could be a race retirement. He's certainly not going to score points now. Now look at Yunt and Graham. Graham makes it up into 9th. Brilliant from Graham. Actually passing David Yunt. That is a brilliant performance. And Cameron Roger clouts the wall. He's running in 6th, but he's just had a little touch of the barrier. Now you have to remember that David Yunt's been sim racing for years, and Harry Graham is a kart driver, has only really started simulator racing very recently indeed. And it's great to see that he's getting properly involved here. Competitive driver. The other downforce racing car is also side by side with somebody. He's side by side with De Los Rios, who is missing his front wing. So De Los Rios running around without a front wing, as we saw Angeloni doing. He's just coming up to where Angeloni crashed actually, so hopefully this doesn't go quite as badly. It might well. He's braking a bit late there. Yeah, it's happening exactly the same way. He's hit the wall as well. Doesn't lose his front right this time, but almost does. And really should be getting out of the way of Davison now, because he just keeps making errors. He's hit the wall again. And Davison finally gets through into 19th position. Campfield pitted. Campfield pitted. Campfield was running in 5th position. Now, how's that happened? So he's... Oh, I've just found a picture of his car facing backwards without a wing. How's that happened? He was running in 6th after his big slide. He's in the castle section. He's just overcooked it on the exterior corner, gone into the wall. And, well, that's it. He's in the pits again. So, very bad luck from Campfield there. Willis takes a look up the inside of Peters. Ooh, gets very sideways. That was almost an incident, but it looks like Peters is going to keep that. Now, there are also a couple of other guys in the pit. Angeloni exits the pit. He has now got a front right wheel. So, although interestingly, as he exited the pit, he didn't have one. And now he does. So, obviously, there is a bit of a game glitch going on as to whether he actually has a wheel or not. Matthias Zirbinski is our first retirement. So, Zirbinski is our first real retirement from the race. He's had another accident. We just found it on the footage. He's overcooked it in the... Oh, he's clipped a curb and overcooked it in the fast section. Just gone into the wall on the inside. I think he's lost the engine. Oh, that's a hard hit to the outside wall. He did get going again, but it looks as if he's gone into the pits and then retired the car. Possibly seeing the extensive pit stop time he would have had to have served. Now, who's close up the front of the order? Stefano and Shepherd are close. That's for third position. Ben Willis pits. So Ben Willis in the pits now. And has he had an incident? Yes, he very much has. That is a very, very badly pulling car that I can see there. And what's happened is he's made contact with Peters and gone into the wall on the outside in the fast section of the circuit. And he's just had to repair that. He's dropped down to 24th position. Down with the other guys who have made lengthy pit stops. Only one driver a lap down at the minute, and that's Osvaldo Angeloni after having to replace a whole wheel. He's still running, but not very well, I'm afraid. Now, will Shepherd get a good slipstream on Wesley Stefano this time around? Shepherd going for the final podium position. Stefano's car looks so quick in a straight line. What is that top speed? It's 187, 188. 188 by the end of that straight. That's incredible. 188 miles per hour these cars are reaching. Brilliant machines. And up against the barrier now is Sandeep Choda. So Choda has had an incident. He's rubbing along the barrier. He was running. Oh, there's been a huge crash. Is that Harry Graham? It is. Oh no. Harry Graham was running so well. It's a lag issue. Oh no. You're hearing lag issues by Conrad Zarebic. He's gone for an almighty lag issue, and he's lagged inside of Sandeep Choda, and Harry Graham has gone for a huge flip. Zarebic, I believe, might be out of the race. He's had terrible damage. David Yunt was also involved, but Harry Graham has been tipped into an absolute flight. That would have made him jump just out of nowhere. Suddenly the car's barreling over end. That, oh dear. Lag issues are absolutely the worst because there's absolutely nothing you can do about them. He almost went into the other track there. Luckily the catch fencing stopped that car from causing an accident with a side of the track that isn't even supposed to be in that section of the race. And Zarebic and Graham are both out of the race, as is Campfield and De Los Rios. So a lot of retirements now. And that lag issue from 7th place, that is just really what we hate to see. And unfortunately, we've been getting far too many of those so far this season. Down the start-finish straight again we go. And does Shepherd get any closer to Stefano? Looks as if the gap's maintaining rather steady in a straight line. He's still there though, still waiting for a pounce. If he can get a good run out of the final corner... Oh, he actually clips the wall there slightly. If he can get a good run out of the final corner to get properly into the DRS range... Well, he's in the DRS range, but properly into the slipstream, then that would be a fantastic opportunity for Chris Shepherd to go for the move for third position. So retirement so far: Sandeep Choda, Osvaldo Angeloni has now retired. Miguel De Los Rios, Conrad Zarebic, Harry Graham, Adrian Campfield, and Matthias Subinski. We've got 23 cars remaining of our 30 starters. Now, what happened to Angeloni? It looks as if he's basically just pitted and given up. So Angeloni pitted the car again and gave up from the race. And that's bad to see from a second place driver in the championship. Getting involved very much in an accident that wasn't his fault. and then one that was, as he missed or didn't go into the pits after losing his front wing, misjudged his lack of downforce and went into the wall, losing a wheel. And now he's just realised that he's not going to have any chance at all of getting points today, and he's abandoned the pit. To be honest though, if there's many more instances in front of him, he might end up regretting that decision. This is a street circuit, so there are still going to be many accidents yet, I'm sure. We're just over halfway through the race, and we've already seen a total of 8 retirements. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but if it did, that would mean that all finishers would score points. It would mean we'd only get 14 finishes. The second half of the race tends to be less accident-packed than the first one, but as Leonov clips the wall in the background, he emphasises the point I was about to make, that there's still mistakes to be made. Shepherd now right on the tail of Stefano again. He's about half a second behind in the last checkpoint. That looks closer now. So Shepherd really waiting for a chance to attack. It's all about setting himself up right for the straights here for Shepherd. He's on the back of Wesley Stefano in third position. Stefano, I don't think, has been a major contributing factor in this championship so far. In fact, he's currently 27th in the championship. His best result being a 13th in race 1 at Australia, and he hasn't finished any of the other 3. Didn't even make it to race 2 at Shanghai for whatever reason. But he's now running in third position, just ahead of Chris Shepherd. So Shepherd now in the proper slipstream range. Very difficult to hold it through these long sweepers because you lose all of the downforce to the car in front, but he's properly in the slipstream now, and he's going to pull out here. He does, and gets the DRS now. Surely Stefano can't hold off this attack. Shepherd is on the inside. Stefano still seems to be going just as fast as him. Stefano's got a very good car for straight line speed, but Shepherd does get up the inside and does get now into third position in the Stax Racing car. He's going to set about our championship leader Chris Butcher ahead of him, but it is still Luke Maguire leading this race very well indeed. Followed by Butcher, Shepherd, Stefano. Will Stefano have another go at Shepherd? He does. He has a look to the inside, but he's not close enough. Behind them, Ivan Leonov, Cameron Roger, big slide for David Yunt in 7th, Mark Veit in 8th, Dominic Foster in 9th, and then Philip Koenig in 10th. After all of those incidents, very unfortunate incidents. And now, Andrew Amarasar is lining up Kevin Peters. I just spotted that out of the corner of my eye. He's going for 17th position here down the straight. Uses the slipstream, pulls out, pulls back in again. Knows he hasn't got enough slipstream the first time. I don't think he's got the DRS open here, but probably should have. Well, he did have it open, but doesn't manage to get through. Gets a good run off the corner though, and gets up the inside of Peters. Of course, this isn't for points, a points position, but it might well turn out to be if there are many more incidents in this race. And Andrew Amasur now pokes up the inside again of the very Graham Hill-esque helmet, or David Hill-esque helmet. And Andrew Amasur does get through now into 17th position ahead of Kevin Peters. Now everyone, well, I was about to say everyone running cleanly, but we've had a new retirement, and it's Mateusz Dabrowski rather. He looks as if he's just kind of lost control of, oh, he's already got damage. He's lost control of the car going into turn 1, hit the wall very lightly, and then just given up, it looks like. Now, how's he got the damage from before? I reckon he probably did that in the sweepers coming down to the start-finish straight. It certainly looks like a fresh injury. And yeah, he tagged the wall in the place where a lot of people do. Oh, and he'd actually hit it before, straight into the race view barrier at the exit of the kind of key loop section. Just basically amassed a big amount of damage and quit the race. So we've lost another. And Stefano is back ahead of Shepherd. So Stefano didn't give it up. He's back ahead of Shepherd. Looks like he got past him in a straight line. I'm just looking back at the replay of that. He did. It was a straightforward slipstream move around the outside of turn 1. Got it sorted. And he's now back into 3rd position in this race. Wesley Stefano ahead of Chris Shepherd. So, after about 70% of this race, Maguire is still leading from Butcher, Stefano, Shepherd, Leonov, Roger, Veit, Yunt, Koenig, Foster. So Veit has got ahead of Yunt since last time I looked there. That's one thing that's changed. Early, Muru's made up about 12 positions in this race so far. Clip, Davison and Richards, they make out the points paying positions here. Davison might well come under attack from Richards before long though. A battle that I'm looking at is the one between Veit and Yunt. They're side by side heading down towards turn 1. Veit keeps the inside there and keeps the place. And Richards has just got ahead of Tom Davison, but Davison is going back for it on the inside. So Davison going back for his position as we head down into turn 1. Looks as if he's going to get it. He has the inside line. Richards doesn't go for a draggish move around the outside. Well, maybe does, but Davison blocks it nicely. So everything fine for 14th position. Davison is the holder of that place so far, ahead of Matthew Richards, or Matt Richards rather, who certainly gave him a run for it. And he's crashed. Matt Richards has crashed down at, is that turn, that looks like turn 3 to me. He pulled out of the slipstream of Tom Davison's car. It looks like he's just missed his braking. And he's gone straight into the wall. He's lost his front wing. And he's going to be dropping well down the order. That means that Brett Metcalf is going to be getting into the points positions. He's 16th at the minute, but he'll get into 15th when Richards hits. And now, as we head down the start-finish straight, Shepherd has actually been dropping back a bit from Wesley Stefano. So the gap between them is almost at 2 seconds now. Shepherd dropping back. I think he's got slight... No, he hasn't got slight steering damage. I thought he had, but it looks like he hasn't. In fact, Stefano's on a real flyer now because he's actually catching Butcher ahead of him at a considerable rate of knots. So Stefano really pushing all of a sudden. And look at Yunt going for Veit around the outside again. Although for 2 laps in a row that doesn't work. He's still looking though, still on the outside of Veit, heading down towards turn 2. And again, Veit has the inside. Yunt has to settle for trying to get the switchback, and a good DRS zone here. Should see him pull alongside at least. Here he goes to the outside of Mark Veit into the braking zone. Veit leaves it later and stays ahead. And Matt Richards now does pit, so Brett Metcalf elevated into the points paying positions, doing a good job of just keeping himself clean during this race. It's still Veit ahead of Yunt for 7th and 8th positions there. And no more retirement since last time I mentioned it, but into the pits as well has come Kevin Peters. So another incident. He's missing his front wing. Of course, he was fighting quite recently with Thomas Andrea Marosa. Now, was it an incident between the two of them, or was it completely separate? It looks as if it was completely separate. So Kevin Peters has just, looks as if he's just overcooked it coming out of turn 7 and smashes it into the inside barrier. And had to pit the car as a result. That's about his 2nd or 3rd stop there. meaning he is now last in the race instead of Michal Galka, who was in that position beforehand. And now Wesley Stefano has caught right up to the back of Chris Butcher. I said he was catching, he's now right there. So Stefano suddenly has had a real burst of pace, and he's on the tail of Chris Butcher. They are inseparable. Jack Mayer picks up an interesting point. He says that Stefano has had awful luck this season with lag and other people's accidents. Don't rule him out of wins in the future. Absolutely, he's a quick driver, as we see now, and well, he's certainly a very quick driver. So we're just about to head onto the start-finish straight again. We've got a couple more fast corners first, and then we will go onto the very long sweepers and the start-finish straight, and that's when we will see Wesley Stefano really trying to set up for a move on Chris Butcher ahead of him. We've seen that he's got a very quick setup in a straight line, does Wesley Stefano. We are now on the final lap of the race, so Luke Maguire comes across the line, and Luke Maguire wins it here in Baku. It's been a good performance from him to keep the car the entire time. He sees the checkered flag after 24 minutes and 23 seconds. And Butcher defense from Stefano. Who's going to get it? Look at that. Oh, my word. It was Stefano by just 0.011. Amazing. It was like Bottas and Stroll. He just got second there. Brilliant performance. Butcher dropped to third, our championship leader. And then it was Chris Shepherd fourth, even Leonov in fifth. Cameron Roger, brilliant result for Eidos in sixth. Mark Veit defending from David Yunt. Who's going to get this one? I love the long last straight at Baku. It's just Mark Veit who keeps it from David Yunt. That was another extremely close one. And then it's Philip Koenig in ninth. Dominic Foster and James Early. The battles just don't stop coming. Foster just claims that. And now Rano Muru in 12th. Gains about 12 positions. Brilliant. Matthew Klipp 13th from last on the grid. So he gained about 17 positions. Brilliant from Matthew Klipp. Tom Davison 14th, the kart driver, held off Willis very well until Willis crashed. Brett Metcalf claims the final point in 15th position. Does very well to keep out of trouble there. Thomas Andrea Marosser just misses out in 16th. And then it's Balint Hammer who's going to claim 17th position ahead of Daniele Brambilla. So Hammer crosses the line now. Brambilla is 18th. 19th is going to be Ben Willis. There he goes. Matt Richards, 20th after an incident with the barriers late on in the race. And Michal Galka is 21st, followed by a lap down Kevin Peters. Out of the race we had it was 8 retirements. Matthias Dabrowski, Sandeep Choda, Osvaldo Angeloni, Miguel de los Rios, Konrad Zarevic, Harry Graham, who is very much not happy about the lag issues, and understandably so, Adrian Campfield and Matthias Sibinski. Now, Graham has posted in the Formula Challenge chat on Discord that he says this lag is ridiculous. Why are people not kicked? It's very difficult to actually pick out who the laggy drivers are before they happen. So that's difficult to do, but I can understand the frustration because, let's face it, he was taken out of a brilliant result, and I'm sure there is much more to come from Harry Graham. Yeah, he brings up the interesting point that one of the downforce cars has been taken out by lag in every weekend so far. That's absolutely true, because we have had a lot of lag issues so far. Much more than last year, I'm afraid to say. So maybe it is something with, to do with the mod. It's a great mod in terms of the physics of it, but it's raising questions about the lag. Now, I don't know why that would be, but can happen. So, race 2 coming up. Don't go anywhere. We've got a reverse grid race, and that could be even more dramatic than the first race, as the quicker drivers have to come from behind. So, still plenty of action to come here. One thing that could be considered for the future, and I know this would take a very long time to sort out, but one thing that could be considered is reducing the grid size for each individual series. I'm just speculating here. I'm not saying this is being considered, but it certainly could be. That would reduce the lag at least slightly. It is a huge shame because in a very unrealistic way, a lot of drivers' races are being completely ruined. And every time it happens, the driver feels like quitting, so it's terrible to see. But anyway, still a good race up the front. And now we still have one more race to go. A good point is that that was the... Now, what team does Maguire race for? I think it was... Oh dear, I'm looking at all of the wrong things here. Shift Gear Racing, and apparently that was Shift Gear Racing's first win, according to... I'm looking at the wrong thing again. To Chris Raby, so very good for that team, SGR. And I see that Luke Maguire's in the chat there. If you are there and you have got the sound on, then amazing victory. You very much just kept that clean. Pole to flag victory. And at a track like this, that takes quite some doing. And for Shift Gear Racing to score a win in just their third GPVWC weekend, great result. Of course, their other driver is Miguel de los Rios. He didn't have quite so much luck in that race. And standing in for Luke Maguire last time out, we had Ross Woodford. I don't know if that was a strategic choice for the team, but well, I expect certainly that Luke Maguire is going to be their first choice from now on. So we're just waiting 4.5 minutes now before race 2. It's going to be a reverse grid race, and the reverse grid number is 11, meaning that James Early is going to be starting on pole, and the top 11 drivers are going to be reversed. It would have been really, really hectic if they picked out the 15, and the top 15 drivers have been reversed, but even 11. So it's going to be James Early on pole, and I'm just going to sort back through the footage to see if I can figure out the other positions here. So it's going to be I believe oh, silly quality. Right, is that all sorted? There it is. So James Early on pole, Dominic Foster in second, Philip Koenig third, and then it's David Yunt, Mark Veit, Cameron Roger, Ivan Leonov, Chris Shepherd, Wesley Stefano, Chris Butcher, and Luke Maguire. So those are going to be the top 11 on the grid, and the rest of the points, so 12 down to 15, are going to be Ron O'Meara, Matthew Clipp, Tom Davison, and Brett Metcalf for the start of the race. But of course, there is still plenty of opportunity for things to change, especially at a track like this one, where we're going to see probably a couple of large pile-ups. Apparently Luke Maguire was on holiday last time out, so that was why Ross Woodford stood in. But good to see you've come back with such a bang here. Pole position and a race win. Obviously you like this circuit. If you can kind of pop into the waiting room after the race 2, then I'll be interested to see or to hear the things you say after race 2. So it'd be good to have an interview from our race 1 winner. So after a very hectic race 1, Chris Butcher extends his lead in the championship as Osvaldo Angeloni has another terrible race. He'll be hoping for a lot better in race 2. But it looks as if we've had a change for second place in the championship there. I'm not entirely sure who took it over. It's very hard to calculate that on the job. Very difficult. So I'm just trying to kind of do... The reason I'm not really speaking as much as I should be is because I am trying to sort of work out who got it. Might have actually been... I think it was probably... Chris Shepherd? Yeah. I think Chris Shepherd's actually jumped up to second in the championship there, because Angeloni and Campfield also had pretty tough races there. So they... I believe it was Chris Shepherd who jumped up into second in the championship that time. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of people quitting for race 2 here. Kevin Peters has compared the race 1 driving standards to Codemasters racing, which is very harsh, but I can see what he means for some of it, so sad to hear that. Hopefully see you back later. A couple of other guys really not happy. Neither of the CM Tech guys are in a good mood at the moment, and quite rightfully so. They both got taken down the order in various different manners. Apparently Luke Maguire has no microphone for the interview after the race. That's unfortunate. Yeah, you could use your phone for that, so long as it doesn't have so long as there isn't too much background noise, or well, so long as I can make out what you're saying and it doesn't make for an entirely unprofessional stream, should be fine. So we'll see. Do what you feel like after the second race. Of course, we have to see how the second race goes for you first, Luke. So the second warm-up session comes to a close. The timer has ticked to 0, and we're now waiting for the drivers to again head to the grid for the second time at the Baku Street Circuit. The circuit designed very much to look a bit like a key. That wasn't intentional, but it does. Now, hopefully we get a much cleaner opening lap and much cleaner race this time around. No lag issues for all of these guys. We still have 28 drivers in the server, so 2 have left. I'm trying to work out who the other driver was. Of course, one of them would have been Kevin Peters. I'm not sure who the other driver to have left is. But anyway, we're going into race 2 now. We've switched to the race session. We're just waiting for the drivers to go onto the grid. Dominic Foster is already there. James Early is there. Just waiting for a couple of guys now. About half the grid is on the actual grid now. About 20 seconds until we head away on our formation lap here, and then we will be good to go for this second Formula Challenge race from Baku. So 5 seconds left to get out onto the grid. It looks as if, oh, so close for Dabrowski and Zibinski. So both of the WSL Racing Team guys almost didn't make it out, but they just about did. And now out in front of the field for this race 2 is going to be James Early at the start. So Early leads them around on the formation lap, followed by Dominic Foster, Philip Koenig, David Junt, Mark Veit, Cameron Roger, Ivan Leonov, Chris Shepherd rather, and then Chris Butcher, Wesley Stefano, Luke Maguire, our race 1 winner, Ronnie Muru, Matthew Klipp, Tom Davison, Brett Metcalf, Thomas Andrea Marissa, Valent Hammett, Daniele Brambilla, Ben Willis, Matt Richards, Michal Galka, Matthias Dabrowski, Sandeep Choda, Osvaldo Angeloni, Nicola de los Rios, Harry Graham, Adrian Campfield, and Matthias Sibinski. Those are the 28 drivers on this grid now, out of the 30 drivers who were going to, or who did start race 1. I'm not sure who the other driver who's pulled out is. So, again, heading round this very tricky Baku City Street Circuit. This time on the formation lap. James Early appears to be leaving the field behind already, sort of showing what he can do, I suppose. No time to slow down and warm up the tyres or anything like that. This is just very much go for it. They're already around. They've covered about half the circuit. They've really pulled away from. There's a big gap between Mark Veit and Cameron Roger here. Look at that. There's just massive gaps here. Now this isn't good for the guys up the front of the field, because they're not going to warm their tyres at all, and they're going to just park on the start grid, wait for an extremely long time, as the rest of the field has to actually catch up before they even park. Well, that's interesting. I think the guys at the front of the field made a bit of a mistake there by powering away, but anyway, they are lining up on the grid now. James Early in his grid slot, there he is, lines it up nicely, very nicely. And at the back of the field, the last position is going to be taken out by Matthias Sibinski. I can't remember if it was him or Dabrowski who caused the lag issue in race 1. Oh, it looks as if the other driver not participating is Harry Graham. So Harry Graham, oh no, he is in the field, he's just 26, never mind. Harry Graham is here. I probably just scared a couple of people. But anyway, onto the start grid we go. 28 drivers. And Zibinski lines up in his slot. There we go. Now we're waiting for the lights for the second time. And when do they come on? Who's out of position still? Looks as if even Leonov's a bit positioned across. I think maybe someone is lined up a bit wrong and doesn't realise it, because the race is... well, the lights are not coming on. I see smoke from one of the drivers behind. Now who's that and why is that? Oh, now Stefano lines up correctly. Maybe that was all we needed. And yet the lights are now coming on. So it was Stefano that was the issue. And go! Away we go. And it's a good start for Dominic Foster, who gets the inside line. I think he's going to lead down into turn 1. He does. So Foster leads this race. Followed by Koenig, who gets up in second. And again, Foster goes very wide. And into the wall in the background goes... is that Leonov, who spins back across the track. And again, there's a huge pile-up. That was... oh, yeah, it was Leonov. And taken into the wall has been Tom Davison and Daniele Brambilla. So those two caught up in an accident, and they're not going to be happy. They're actually caught together on each other's wheels at the start here, and now they come apart. But terrible for these guys. And Stefano is round. Stefano's been involved in an incident, as has Cameron Roger and Ranu Muru. So there's been another big accident. Oh, it looks as if oh dear, early. No, basically Roger has missed his braking point, gone into the back of Early, and they've all kind of bunched up together. That's bad for Cameron Roger. He caused that, I'm afraid. And there's been another huge pile-up. And now the order again is in a complete muddle here. It's Philip Koenig leading the race, followed by David Yunt, Mark Veit, James Early, Tris Butcher, Chris Shepherd, Thomas Andrea Marissa. Round goes Ballethammer, good save. Matthew Richards, Matthew Clip, Matthias Dabrowski, Harry Graham, Miguel de los Rios, Ben Willis, and Osvaldo Angeloni is up into 15th position now. So those are the top 15 and the drivers currently in points paying positions. Still plenty of time to be gained though, and plenty of incidents left to happen, I'm afraid to say. Brett Metcalf is missing his front wing, Ivan Leonov is missing his front wing. Daniele Brambilla has touched the wall again. This is a dodgy start again. Both races have been. And well, I'm afraid to say many drivers getting completely taken, well, having their races completely ruined by some of the drivers up front being a bit silly there. Now Early and Butcher side by side. Early misses braking and Butcher goes through into 4th. There's still a question mark hanging over James Early. I expect he might well get a penalty for that incident with Cameron Roger, which caused the rest of the field to get bunched up. But Butcher through into 4th now. And that means it's now Koenig, Yunt, Veit, Butcher, Early at the front of the field, but Early under attack from Shepherd, and Yunt now under attack from Veit for 2nd. In fact, I think Yunt is closing back up on Koenig at the front, so the battle for the lead is certainly not over by any stretch of the imagination. Still plenty of time to be gained and lost here. And look as well at Early coming under attack from Shepherd. Shepherd pulled out of the slipstream briefly, just to sort of show himself to the mirrors. Yunt is definitely closing. He's now within 0.8 of a second of Philip Koenig at the top of the order. So Koenig has to keep looking in his mirrors here, making sure that Yunt's not going for any sort of dive. Of course, that would have been in the 90-degree section. But Koenig certainly has to be careful. And Yunt, if he can set himself up nicely here, will be able to attack going down into turn 1, I'm sure. Let's see. It's completely flat from here. Matthew Clip's dropping down the order. He's in the escape road somewhere. Yeah, he's actually just been hit from behind by Matthias Dabrowski. So Dabrowski hits Clip and forces him down the escape road. Clip is now down into 20th position. And now look at Yunt in the slipstream, but probably not close enough to Philip Koenig to make a move down into turn 1 this time around. What's the gap as they cross the start-finish line? It's 0.7 of a second. So, still opportunity. There was about 0.3 of a second gained on that lap. But no move yet. Look at Early and Shepherd side by side again. Shepherd up the inside and he gets 5th position. Yeah, he closes that off. Early in the slipstream again. And someone else has gone for a spin. Choda and Maguire! He was down in 19th position for some weird reason. And he's just been caught up with Campfield and Choda. It looks as if he's gone into the back of Campfield. Campfield's gone into the back of Choda. They've all bunched up there. And I'm afraid that's a bit silly from both Maguire and Campfield there. It looks as if even if Maguire hadn't hit Campfield, he still would have... Campfield still would have gone into the back of Choda. So... interesting, but anyway, I'm just looking back at the order to see what happened. Back at the replay to see what happened to Maguire. Okay, so he was involved in the first corner accident. He was actually caught up with Ivan Leonov. So basically, how the first corner accident happened was Leonov tried to turn in where Shepherd was, got tipped around and bounced out into the wall. And in trying to rejoin the track, got hit by Matt Clip from behind, just spun into the field and caught everyone else up behind him. And now, Brett Metcalf pits from 26th. Out of the race, we have Dominic Foster and Ivan Leonov. So Foster, now what happened to him? Because he pretty much led the field going into well, he led the field going into turn 1, and then he got involved in the incident in turn 2 and dropped further down the order, and he has just retired in a separate incident. It was at turn 8. It looks as if he's kind of clipped the back of Luke Maguire ahead of him and spun the car around and then abandoned to pits, but whatever, he's out, I'm afraid. As well as Ivan Leonov. So Koenig still leads from Junt, Butcher, Shepherd early, Andrea Marissa. Mark Veit is in the pits, so Mark Veit pits without a front wing. And there's a further pile up at turn 1, there's a car flipping, and Osvaldo Angeloni's involved. So basically what's happened here is Galka has dived Angeloni, very silly move, tagged him in the front. He's gone into the barrier on the outside, and then Angeloni has spun. He's been clipped by De Los Rios. The two of them have spun into, is that Brett Metcalf exiting the pits and flipped Brett Metcalf onto his side. And I'm afraid that's a bit silly from De Los Rios there. So I'm afraid, I think the driving standards in this race have been worse than they were in race 1. And that's, look at this, Harry Graham already up into 9th position. He had to start from right at the back. He's already up into 9th in all of this. That's an amazing performance. Graham is absolutely my driver of the day today. If he hadn't been involved in the race 1 accident, he would have been a lot higher up the order. That's amazing. Well, actually, I think Luke Maguire would be my main driver of the day. The incident at turn 1 was absolutely not his fault. But Maguire back up into 15th position already. Graham certainly doing a great job here. He's defending from Dabrowski. Aren't these two the two that came together in race 1? I think it was actually Dabrowski who lagged into Harry Graham. So Graham will be getting bad memories from that. Actually, I think that was Ziobinski, his teammate. Or Dabrowski's teammate, rather. And Dabrowski again in the slipstream here. But Junt and Koenig are close. Look at this. Will Junt go for a move for the lead of the race? He goes for it. He's up the inside. This is for the lead. Junt with the slipstream and the DRS has it up the inside. So David Junt leads the race now from Philip Koenig. And look at Chris Shepherd. He's right there. And now Dabrowski and Graham are side by side as I expected they would be. Dabrowski trying to go around the outside of Graham. Does he get it? Yes, great move. Great move from Dabrowski there. Now look at Butcher up the inside of Koenig. Going towards turn 2 here. Turn 3 rather. He's up the inside. And he gets the move done from Philip Koenig. So Butcher up into second. It's a red arrow. 1-2. Now green lights flash, and that's because there's been an incident before causing prior yellow lights. Balint Hammer tried to dive bomb Matt Richards, locked up the rear end and went into the barrier. He's lost the front wing. I don't think his move on Matt Richards was actually intentional. It looked to me like he just shifted down too quickly and lost the rear end. He is now out of this race, I'm afraid to say. So we've lost another. And Sandeep Choda is also out after that incident we saw at turn 1. He will absolutely not be pleased with today. Now Koenig defending from Shepherd. Shepherd behind him. And Koenig might well go from first to third or to fourth in one lap here if Shepherd can slipstream in on the straight. We'll see what happens. So through the sweepers we go. Shepherd on the back of Koenig, and he'll be using him as a complete windbreak as we head onto the start-finish line this time around. Here he goes, and Shepherd. This looks relatively straightforward for Chris Shepherd. He's up the inside. And Chris Shepherd is through into third position. Is he? Yeah, he's got it before the corner. Now, will Koenig come back at him in the braking zone? No, so Shepherd gets third position here. Gets the car turned in. And that goes to him. I believe he's second in the championship now after Angeloni and Campfield's misfortunes in race 1. Talking of Campfield, was he the driver who didn't make it? No, he's in 11th, so he wasn't the driver who didn't make it into race 2 here. And now look at the lead. It looks as if Junt has very much just... Oh, it's all gone wrong. Oh no, Butcher with terrible damage. He's crabbing badly. Look at that. That's gone terribly wrong for the stacks, guys. Red arrow, guys, rather. Because that looked very much like David Junt was letting Chris Butcher through. He slowed right down. He let Chris Butcher through. Surely Butcher knew that was going to happen. And yet Butcher missed his braking. He's gone into the wall on the outside. He's ruined the car. And he's lost what would have been a pretty much a sure win there. So Chris Butcher now crabbing his car back to the pits, is dropping positions well, he's dropping like a ton of bricks. He's just lost 8 to Harry Graham. And that is dreadful from Chris Butcher, our championship leader, who would very easily have taken the lead of the race here. There. Now we've had some more retirements. Michal Galka is out of the race, as is Balint Hammer. We saw Balint Hammer's accident. What happened to Galka? Galka was involved in a separate accident. Looks as if he's just... Now what's happened here? He's just kind of slowed. So, is that a... Well, it looks as if he's given up mainly. So, whatever the case, Galka has pretty much just given up from the race and has dropped behind the field. Now, Butcher still trying to get it back to the pits. He's dropped now to 14th position. He's going to drop out of the points very shortly. And now look at the lead. Shepherd is right on the back of Yunt after all of that. Oh, Yunt locks up and goes for a big slide. And Shepherd gets the lead. Shepherd is going through. He's on the inside line. And Chris Shepherd is going to take the lead of the race here at Baku. There he goes after a mistake from David Yunt. I'm going to go back and watch that again. But Yunt is going to... Well, he certainly had a look, but didn't have a fully fledged attack. It looks very much like Yunt just sort of got a bit crossed up. Oh, he locked up the rear axle going into the corner, slid it through, and through went Chris Shepherd to the lead of the race here at Baku in race 2, and that could well be a turning point in the championship as Butcher is struggling. He's in the pits, and Shepherd takes the lead of this race. Now, we've had another retirement. It's Mark Veit, so there's been an incident for Mark Veit somewhere. He's had an incident with Cameron Roger. So Roger, who of course was involved in the turn 2 accident, oh, he's caused that. So Roger has missed his braking and he's gone into the back of Mark Veit. He's spun himself around. He spun Mark Veit into the barrier, and Veit is out of this race. And Roger, I think, just pitted as well. So terrible race for a lot of these guys so far. And still it's close for the lead. Yunt will be hungry to get that place back again from Chris Shepherd after that unfortunate incident. Now here he goes. He's going for the slipstream. He's going around the outside. Look at that. Straight past him. That's the power of the slipstream. So David Yunt repasses Chris Shepherd for the lead of this race. Gets him back again after the big slide. And Shepherd now back into second, but he's right back on him in the DRS zone. They might even swap again here. Shepherd on the back of David Yunt and going to the outside as we head down towards turn 3. He's going round the outside of him. But Yunt defends it well and keeps the lead of the race for now. So, David Yunt still in the lead of this race, followed by Chris Shepherd in second. But Shepherd looks to the inside. That was, again, just speculative, showing himself to the rear mirrors of David Yunt's car there. And, well, he's going to have to set himself up for a straight. Of course, there's a very long one coming up, which is the start-finish straight. That's the one where we've seen all of the real overtaking, or most of the overtaking happening so far today. And this has been a brilliant dogfight between these two drivers up front of the field so far. Still plenty of time left to go in this little battle. Ben Willis is dropping down the order like a stone. He's in 17th now. He's just lost his front wing. So Ben Willis has had an incident. What's happened to him? He's got it all crossed up on the exit of the chicane at turn 6, and he's clouted the wall. He's now dropped outside of the points, 17th position. So another incident. Chris Butcher is out of the pits. He's running in 20th position now. Not last on track. That would be Brett Metcalf after his various incidents so far in this race. And Shepherd was not able to get on terms with Yunt as they went down the start-finish straight that time around. But he has the slipstream again. out of turn 2 and has the DRS again, but again not close enough. Gets very close to the rear end of David Yunt's car under braking, but again not close enough for a move just yet. Of course, the two of them have already swapped positions twice in this race, as Yunt had a slide and Shepherd got him, and then Yunt got him back again on the start-finish straight. Osvaldo Angeloni makes a move up into 10th position now. He has just passed Mateusz Ziebinski. So Angeloni, who was second in the championship going into this round, up into the top 10 now, making the most of what has already been a dodgy weekend for him. He's a quick driver, but he's had terrible luck so far this season. I'm sure that more things will come his way later on, though. He's also doing Super Cup and doing very well in that as well. I believe that he is also second in that championship. He's certainly quite close to the top of the order in that. And now, as we head out onto the start-finish straight, surely this will be Shepherd's chance at attacking David Yunt at the front of the order. He is less than 0.2 of a second behind him as we go onto this straight. Look at this. Shepherd is surely going to get it. He has the DRS, which opens now. He's going to the outside of David Yunt's car. He's a lot faster. They're very, very close, almost touching. Banging wheels. That's like Senna and Mansell, but Yunt somehow defends it up the inside. Shepherd gets the switch back. Shepherd is on the inside now as we head down towards turn 2. Is he going to brake later? Yunt, they make contact. They bang wheels. And Shepherd is still on the inside. And now he gets the DRS as well. And he does get the move. But Yunt, did he just tag him up the rear end? There was a slight wiggle from Shepherd. Maybe he was just assessing to see if there was damage from the incident. Yunt is trying to go back up the inside. Shepherd keeps the lead of the race. What a move. What a battle that was for Shepherd to take the lead of this race from David Yunt at the front of this order on lap 10 out of 13. So, a great move from Chris Shepherd to put him up into the lead of the race. Followed by David Yunt. James Early is in third. Followed by Philip Koenig. Now, when did third change? Because I'm sure that James Early was not in third before. I probably haven't been... Well, of course, that was when Butcher had his incident. What am I thinking of? Yeah. And then actually, Thomas Andrea Maharasur, very sneakily, running in 5th position. Brilliant race from him so far. This will be by far his best result in Formula Challenge so far. Dabrowski is in 6th. Harry Graham in 7th. Amazing performance from Graham as well. Matt Richards in 8th from near the back of the grid. Great performance from Matt Richards. Adrian Campbell in 9th from near the back of the grid. Great performance from him. Osvaldo Angeloni, again, making up a lot of positions here. Miguel de los Rios, Luke Maguire, who's had a good recovery after his opening instance. Matthew Clipp, Daniele Brambilla, again, good recovery from Brambilla. Wesley Stefano, good recovery from him. And just outside of the points, Muro, Butcher, Willis, Davison. And then out of the race, Zubinski, Roger, Metcalf. Well, Metcalf is not out of the race yet. He's just down a lap, so he's behind some of the guys who are out of the race. Veit, Hammer, Galka, Choda, Foster, and Leonov. Again, it's been a real race of attrition. We knew it would be. Ziebinski, our latest retirement. Now, how did that happen? Because I don't think that we saw that. It was just coming out of the final corner. He got all sorts of crossed. Oh, he's already got damage by that point. So he picked up his damage in the fastest section of the track, did he? It was just heading through the downforce sector. Oh no, he'd already got damage before that. Oh, it was just okay. It was turn 9, the castle section. He was running 11th at the time. Just got it all crossed up, rubbed along the barrier, and then he had several more hits at the wall later on in the lap and decided he picked up too much damage. New retirement, Mateusz Dabrowski. So Mateusz Dabrowski was running in 6th position, and that's a big shame for him. Now, what's happened to Mateusz Dabrowski? It was it in turn 2? No, I'm just trying to look back on the replay to see where that happened to Dabrowski. Oh, it was just coming out of the right-hander at turn 4. He was running 6th and got it all crossed up. Yeah, just too fast on the power, went into the barrier on the inside, race over, and that puts Harry Graham up into 6th position now. Incredible. Matt Richards up into 7th, even more incredible as well, because Richards has come from right in the back of the order. David Yunt has had a big kick of oversteer there through turn 2. Smokes up the rear tyres and drops back further from Chris Shepherd. The gap there is now over a second, so Shepherd pulling away. He's been driving a great race so far to get ahead of David Yunt, and now he's pulling away. We have one more lap after this one. We're on the penultimate lap of this race. And Daniele Brambilla almost had a go at Matt Clip there down into turn 1 for 11th position. Those two are very close, and we might actually have a go down into turn 2 or 3 here. So that's one battle certainly to look out for later on in this race. He has the DRS now, does Danilo Brambilla. Clip goes defensive, and Brambilla in the CM Tech car into turn 3 is closing in on that Clip. But not quite close enough just yet. Matthew Clip still ahead of Daniele Brambilla. The gap for the lead now 2.1 seconds, so there really is a good deal of pulling out going on from Chris Shepherd. He's really extending his margin and doing it very well indeed out the front there. Shepherd might even take the lead of the championship this round. He's been far more consistent than Chris Butcher after Butcher's accident. Butcher, meanwhile, is running in 16th position. If he gains one more position, he'll be right back into the points. But not very many points. We're on the final lap of the race now at the front of the field. Yunt pulled back in the slipstream, but not close enough to have any sort of attack at Chris Shepherd. And Shepherd might well pull away again now. Adrian Campfield catching Matt Richards for 7th. That's one battle that isn't over yet. And that gap was about 0.6 of a second as they passed the start-finish line. Currently we've got 19 drivers remaining of the 28 that started in this race. The latest retirements have been our 2 WSL Racing Team drivers. They've been having a terrible time today. Now into the pits came Luke Maguire on that last lap, so Maguire's obviously had an incident. Campfield's trying to go around the outside of Richards, Richards defends it well. And that means that Maguire, our race 1 winner, has had his day go from bad to worse, and Chris Butcher is up into 15th position, our final points paying position. What happened to Maguire? It was a spin of some kind. That was at turn 2, was it? I think he's just sort of overcooked it. Yeah, he's overcooked it in turn 2, locked up the rear axle and gone into the wall rearwards, and then lost his... well, he's hit the wall trying to get it going. But anyway, he's just emerging from the pits, and Chris Shepherd is on the final straight. Down he comes to win race 2 and possibly take the lead of the Drivers' Championship there. We'll have to add up the points after the race. Chris Shepherd goes down to the start-finish straight and wins the race. Wins race 2, followed by David Yunt. So Yunt salvaging something for the Red Arrow guys today. James Early, 3rd place, but I expect he might get a penalty for that opening instant with Cameron Roger. Philip Koenig is 4th, Thomas Andrea Marisol is 5th. Harry Graham, brilliant 6th position. Look at him celebrating. He crashes in celebration. That's something you would never see in reality. Following him, Matt Richards, Adrian Campfield, Osvaldo Angeloni made it up just 9th at the end, but he is heavily damaged. Look at that. He's crabbing it across the line. That may have happened on the final lap. Miguel de los Rios is going to be crossing the line in 10th position now. So he crosses the line in 10th there. And 11th, who's it going to be? Just about Matt Clip from Daniele Brambilla. Wesley Stefano crosses the line 13th. Rano Muri is going to claim some more valuable points in 14th position. I believe he's also got some damage here. Yeah, he has. 15th is going to be Chris Butcher, who was our championship leader and might well still be. I'm not entirely sure. So Butcher crosses the line 15th now. 16th is going to be Ben Willis. He's coming through the final sector. He's going to miss out on the points just because Butcher was our final points paying driver there. So Ben Willis crosses the line in 16th position. And then 17th. 17th, after winning race 1, is unfortunately going to be Luke Maguire. He's going to be terribly disappointed with that race. Still celebrates for winning race 1, but a bad race 2 for him. And Tom Davison is 18th. 19th in a lap down was Brett Metcalf. And then out of the race were Matthias Dabrowski, Matthias Zibinski, Cameron Roger, Mark Veit, Valent Hammer, Michal Galka, Sandy Choda, Dominic Foster, and Ivan Leonov. Now, we are going to hopefully get some drivers into the waiting room, and then we will kick off the interviews. That is, if any of the drivers are still in a mood for talking. Now, I realised that at the end of the race, I said that there's a question mark hanging over James Early for the incident at turn 2. I forgot that wasn't him. He was the innocent victim. It was Cameron Roger who went into the back of him. So maybe Roger, well, I think he served his penalty enough by retiring from that race, I'm afraid. But yeah, just wanted to clear James Early's name a bit there. He did drive a very good recovery to 3rd position. We're just waiting for the drivers' interviews. If you have any questions for any of those drivers, then you can post them in the chat, and I'll be sure to ask them. There's a lot of ring ding 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 and grazie ragazzi and all of that going on in the chat as a parody of Sebastian Vettel's famous celebration. I could do an impression of that, but I think that would be a bit unprofessional. Still just waiting for the drivers to come in for the interviews. It might just be that they've all got fed up. I wouldn't be surprised with a lot of them. Well, I've just realised I forgot to mute my microphone for that, so apologies for that. But anyway, still waiting for a couple of drivers. Mr. Coffolino says, what kind of sandwich was that in race 1, or was it a salad? Well, I think we saw that more than just the one sandwich in race 1 there. There were quite a few, you know, it wasn't so, you know, normal as a sandwich. It was all over the place. There were pieces everywhere. Just, you know, there were burger buns being chucked across the room, and yeah, if it was a sandwich, it would be a complete mess of one, I must say. Anyway, into the interview booth now. We are going to bring our first 2 drivers. Firstly, Chris Butcher. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
So, Chris, you came into this round as the championship leader. You knew it would be a tough one to keep the positions and to not get involved in an incident. I bet you feel a little bit embarrassed that your incident occurred when your teammate was giving you the lead.
Yeah, well, it was embarrassing. I was just a little bit too impatient. I knew I needed to get past him quickly because Shepherd was catching us quickly, and yeah, I mucked it up.
Well, race 1 went okay, of course. You finished second in that. Do you think that you could have possibly done more to catch Maguire, or was he just too quick?
Nah,
You
Maguire's
were third
been...
actually. Wesley jumped you right at the end.
Yeah, no, I was so disappointed by that, and that was my own fault as well because I was in a clear second and I smacked the wall. So just one of them really. It was a bit of a sloppy round, but I think I've still managed to keep the championship lead. We scored decent points. I've still scored points in every race, so there are a few positives to take from it. And not every round is going to go brilliantly. Hopefully, I've got my bad luck out of the way now.
Well, hopefully so. I don't. Do you know if you're still leading the championship or whether Shepherd got you there?
I should be. I think I was 30 points ahead of Shepherd, so.
Yeah, that does say to me that you're probably still leading the championship.
It's going to be close, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. Talking of Shepherd, thanks for the intro there. I will bring in
Luke.
Chris Shepherd now. Hi, Chris.
Oh, hello, all right.
I did kind of drag you out a bit there. I normally say who's coming up next, but I think I forgot to do that today.
So. All right.
Okay, so Chris Shepherd, you gained back quite a few points there, didn't you? It was a good weekend for you.
Well, it was a poor weekend turned slightly good, unfortunately, due to Butcher's issues, which I don't like to see happen, but I mean, I'll take that. We've had a poor start to this season, to be fair. We've had such great pace, and both myself and Adrian, we just haven't performed, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure what the points gap is now, but it's got to be close.
Yeah, well, I thought initially that you may have taken the lead in the championship. Chris Butcher says that he doesn't think that you did. It's certainly close, as you say.
I think it was something like 30 odd points ahead, so it must be 5-10 points or something.
Yeah, I'll try to work that out afterwards, but we'll see. So anyway, you finished fourth in race 1. And,
nightmare that was. What a nightmare that was. Turn 1, I don't know what happened. We got good starts, both me and Adrian. And I'm talking to Adrian, let him know I'm on the right hand side. And then for some reason, they both just slowed down in front. Obviously, the leader, I don't know. I need to look. I don't know what happened, but all I know is I had no time to react, and I went straight into the rear of my teammate. My whole car was just dark blue everywhere. I had no top speed at all, so I was quite lucky to hold in fourth, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest,
I need to look that one back.
I was very surprised to see you two still come out of that in 4th and 5th positions. I thought you'd be right at the back, but somehow you managed to hang on to it, and it was just everyone else behind that.
Did you see it on the broadcast? Or what happened?
Absolutely.
What happened? Or was there just? We'll have to have a look. I don't know what your view is on it or what you thought.
Okay, well, I've just kind of looked back at the broadcast view of it. It looked more like we just caught the aftermath than the actual initial collision. But
sure.
Anyway, race 2, brilliant dogfight with David. It took you a bit of effort to get past him, didn't it?
Wow, I mean, it did. I mean, it's clear that they had a bit of lower downforce. I had slight damage on my car, but the car was only showing light blue damage. And from testing, I do believe that doesn't really affect your car at all in handling or top speed. So David had great pace, to be fair. That was a full one-on-one battle. And when I got past, he then got past. I thought, God, this is going to be... As soon as I got past the first time, I thought, okay, I'm just going to pull away now. But I didn't. And then I managed to get past again, and I just had to try and go into quali mode, and I just managed to pull a few temps here and there. And then the penultimate lap, I hit the wall, and it closed in on the last lap, and I had slightly bent steering on the whole of the last lap. But like, it's not bent a considerable amount, and I was able to hold it.
Oh, goodness gracious. So that was a bit of a scare towards the end. But anyway, thanks for talking to us there. We are now going to bring in, and hopefully he's not having a chat at the time, David Young. Hello, David.
Hello.
So, how did your race weekend go? We saw you came second in race 2. Race 1 wasn't quite so fortunate. What did you think of it?
Different grip Oh, it's just this different car behavior than I thought from testing. So it suddenly felt much more grippy on the main server, which at least gave me confidence not to pin it right away. But it didn't quite work out. The pace, couldn't make the sectors work, and so I was like P14 after penalties, and just thinking, well, somebody drops it ahead of me, I got avoided, and then people dropped it ahead of me in turn 1, 2. So I was like easy up to like P10. And after that, I had a big scare when I think Konrad Serbiak had a screen freeze or another one of those TPU usage problems, where his car warped through like 2 cars ahead of me. I was slowing down because I kind of saw him start warping. Then he tapped my nose, and I had a big spin through that last king, and I just managed to avoid crashing my car. After that, I think maybe I had a bit of tire problems and then nearly dropped it again. So Mark got me for P7 on the line in the end. So I guess I'm happy by P8. Could have been way worse twice. But in race 2, well, lucky one again. I got 2 cars right away, then followed Koenig, then got him with another nice DRS move. And then, well, I knew that Chris was faster and that he'd with the pace he would pass me anyway in any DRS zone, but I think he kind of overcooked it at that one at turn 3 and went just too narrow, too fast into it and lumbered the wall. And even I self felt like kind of guilty because I don't know, I felt like I was in the way there, even though we're both racing for a win, of course. But still, it felt very hard and tough to see him drop back and then go into the pits. After that, I of course knew that the other Chris was behind me. I tried really hard to keep my pace up, but even though it's, I feel like, less wings, he had just incredible speed through the cast section and such, and I didn't dare really going all out because I didn't felt as good because I had less wings. And so I was on the straights, I could get him back once, but the second time, after we were like nearly disagreeing on who goes first into turn 2, he got me, and then he got away by over a second, and then I could never catch him again. I tried really my best, and he was not getting that far away. And he said he had a slight scare in last lap in the fast section, but it wasn't to be, and I took second for myself. I love the result to get back into the championship after the first round. That was really atrocious for me, but on the side of the team, I'm still a bit sad that we couldn't get another great double result like at Shanghai. So double-edged sword. So yeah, but in any case, I'm glad it turned out at least well for me. But I will be looking next round to score big again.
Well, hopefully for you as well. So see you next time.
Bless you.
What I meant to say was see you next time then.
Yep, see you next time. Thank you.
And finally, and I don't know if he has... No, okay, it looks like that wasn't actually the... Okay, right. I think that's it. Let me just double check that. We had another driver who was in, but I don't think they're actually having an interview. So I was just checking that. I think that might well be it for the date. So anyway, if yeah, looks like that very much was it. No, it wasn't. We have one last driver, very briefly. Philip Koenig, hello.
Hello.
I must say you had a lot of pace there. I don't think I've seen you running quite so close to the front yet.
Well, you can guess how surprised I was after qualifying. I think I was P19, even after the other guys got the penalties. So I didn't expect anything like this from the second race. I thought, okay, I started the front row, but with a little bit of luck, I can get some points. And yeah, almost made it to the podium. So that was a surprise.
Well, you certainly had a good shot at it. Didn't quite manage the podium in the end, though. So do you think you could have done better than that, or
well, I
better
made
in the future, maybe?
In the future, I hope so, because also Melbourne was very good. China was just awful for me. I didn't get the setup right, and also here it wasn't quite on point. And in the second race, I went a bit over optimistic with my front wing setting, so I had a lot of oversteer. And I don't know if you saw it on screen, but I had a really bad spin into turn 2. That's why James Early got me in the end. I don't know if I could have held him behind me, but I would have liked to find out if I could manage it. So yeah, I'm satisfied, but a little bit sad that I dropped it.
Well, we'll see more in the future. Hopefully, you can have a bit more luck in future rounds. Finally, we have our race 1 winner in, Luke Maguire. Hello, Luke.
Hello.
So you won race 1. Race 2 didn't go quite so well. Let's start with the positive. How was race 1 for you?
Well, I got pole, which is kind of a surprise at the lap time because in practice, everyone near the top were doing kind of mid 50s, so didn't feel like a great lap. But thank God it was. After that, race 1 was fine. Got a good start. Chris Butcher got up into P2. I got kind of scared because he has good pace in the last few rounds. I don't know. I'm not really used to being up the front and kind of trying to build a gap and stuff, but the car setup felt very comfortable and the tire wear is pretty good. So yeah, it was kind of cruise control at the top at times, but then he kind of started pushing, and then Wesley started to kind of fight with him. So that kind of, I knew they were going to fight with each other, so I didn't make too much mistakes. But yeah, it's my first kind of win in sim racing at all, so I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, and then
yeah, I was just going to say, race 2, bit less lucky, wasn't it?
Race 2, I got taken out in the first corner. I got taken out again probably later on in the lap, and then my car was about 2 seconds a lap slower, 10 kilometers down on the straights. Yeah, I was just no pace in the car at all. The rear kept going on me in the braking zone, so it's not that I didn't mind because of the race 1 win, but I was kind of hoping for good points because I didn't get to race the last round. So if I'm gonna go to anywhere in the championship, I need to do good in these race 2s and stuff. So it's a shame, but next round I'll do a bit more practice. I only started practicing yesterday because college assignments and stuff, but it's it's good. It's promising for the next few rounds of the season, and I love the car. I think it's a great car. It's great for racing. And this track is just fabulous to race in. Like it's like it, even on the stream. I was looking at even sitting in the garage. It just the racing, the overtakes. It's just very good. If your car is working.
Still great to see you kind of weaving over the line. Still celebrating even after a dodgy race. That's a
that was more frustratement.
More frustratement. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Still, looked interesting on the stream. But anyway, that was the end of this this broadcast for today's GPVWC Formula Challenge race. Remember to subscribe to Sim News TV on YouTube or Facebook, and that is to catch all of the future action. We were also live on the GPVWC YouTube channel. Super Cup coming up tomorrow. Make sure to look out for that, and then we also have Super League on Thursday, all live on Sim News TV and the GPVWC YouTube channel. So make sure you join us back in 2 weeks for round 4 from the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona in Spain. And, well, that one I can imagine should be a little less chaotic than today's race. However it is, I will see you then. Goodbye.